Evening, and thank you for joining us this evening for our City Council Town Hall meeting. We'll go ahead and get started. Connie, could you please call the roll?
Cheatham.
Yes.
Ludwig.
Here.
Minko.
Here.
Mansfield.
Here.
Marchand.
Here.
Nichols.
Here.
Glad.
Here. We'll go ahead and jump into agenda item number 2 is the city construction projects update. Council members and city staff members may wish to update the public and discuss various city construction projects. So I've asked our Parks Director and Butler to be here. We've got a lot of construction happening in the Parks Department, in the Parks area, and I've got our Public Works Director, Jeff Mansfield, here because there's orange cones in the road. And we're going to talk about those orange cones as well and what's going on there, and hopefully get some updates on some other issues. And so with that, I don't know who drew the short straw to go first.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Go.
ahead.
I just had a go ahead, Jeff. So
All right. Thank you very much. As the mayor said, my name is Jeff Mansfield. I'm the Public Works Director. It's my pleasure to be here with you today. He asked me to speak on some of the construction projects that we have going on right now. And so when you ask an engineer to speak on construction projects, I came up with a list that's 3 pages long. So I'll try to go through those as quickly as possible. The first one I want to talk about is our water department. Our water department has several major projects going on right now. One of those is the Pocatello Creek Booster Station. This is an $11.8 million project that includes 12,000 lineal feet of 24 to 30-inch pipe. It also included a horizontal directional drill under I-15 and several jack and bores underneath the Pocatello Creek and also the Pocatello Creek roads. And we're expecting substantial completion on that in November of 23. This is a critical project to the city because it gives us a redundant source of water up in the East Bench area. Another project that the water department's working on is a 5 million gallon transmission line project. This is a $3.4 million project, includes 7,200 feet of 18-inch transmission line. It also includes a cured-in-place pipe going underneath the Union Pacific Railroad and a jack and bore underneath the Portneuf River, which proved to be quite challenging this spring. This will replace a 90-year-old water line that we have, and we're also expecting substantial completion on that in November of 23. Well number 2 was taken down out at Ross Park early last year because of nitrate issues and because of the age of the well. It was drilled in 1926, and we've re-drilled that well. We went down to 120 feet, and we pump tested that well at about 2,000 gallons a minute, which previously we were only getting about 1,000 gallons a minute out of that well. We've drilled that well, and we're finalizing the design on that. And that'll be bidding out in November with construction starting next year. Well number 22 was another well that we replaced. We estimate that one at about a $2 million project. We pump tested that one the other day and got about 3,000 gallons a minute, and we're estimating that's going to be one of the best wells that we have in production. So we're excited to get that one designed and under construction. We drilled that one to 360 feet. We'll be bidding that one in November as well with the construction of next year. In addition, the water department also replaced 9,450 feet of aging water line to improve the age on the water line and also improve fire flows. So then we'll move on to our water pollution control, our wastewater department. We've got a major project going on out at the plant. It's called our solids handling project. It's a $10.3 million project, and it's for dewatering primarily. So dewatering the sludge so that it makes it easier for us to land apply. In addition, we're also doing some upgrades to our digester and also our aeration system. Expected completion on that one is November of 2024. In addition, we're building a new operations building out at the treatment plant. We just broke ground on that today. That's a $3.36 million project, and it'll include about 6,000 square feet of space for administration, office, and training space. We're expected completion on that one in October of 2024. In addition, our wastewater department did several point repairs and cured-in-place pipe projects throughout the year. Also, as a note for sewer issues, we got Congressman Simpson's working really hard for us right now to get $1.75 million in appropriations that we can dedicate to sewering of the Johnny Creek area. And so we're just kind of working with them, trying to figure out if that's going to go through Congress. And then also, in the meantime, we're working on the phase 1 design of that and the preliminary engineering reports and also future phases. With regards to our street department, we applied for and received a $1.3 million grant, SMART grant. This is to install sensor-based traffic monitoring across the Yellowstone corridor, and this will maximize traffic flow and pedestrian movements at 19 signals. And we're working on the design on that one, and we don't know a completion date on that one yet. In addition, we're also designing a traffic signal out at Bannock Highway and South Valley. So the west end of South Valley, we're putting in a traffic signal there. It's about a $750,000 project. The design is complete, and we're in the right-of-way negotiation stages of that project right now. In addition, the city has designed and is in construction of a new fuel site to serve the whole city. Our old fuel site was pretty antiquated, and we were anticipating issues with the tanks and the pumps, and so we designed and are in the finishing stages of building the new fuel site out here on Garrett Way. We expect it to be completed by the end of October and in use for the city to utilize. This year, we also purchased 2 simulators. So the city has a really hard time finding CDL drivers and getting CDL drivers trained. And so we purchased a vehicle simulator and an equipment simulator. And the vehicle simulator was $170,000 and the equipment simulator was $128,000. And they're working on training courses, setting up training courses for that right now. As far as their pavement management plan, so they budgeted $1.5 million for pavement this year. They did 20 miles of fog seal, 21 miles of micro seal, and just a little under a mile of actual paving. So on total, they did 42 miles of asphalt or pavement treatment this year. And the total cost for that was $1.025 million. And so that's pretty well done for this year. In addition, we've installed several ADA ramps and sidewalks throughout the year. I'll leave that one till last. The Carson Street Bridge was funded through a grant called the Bridge Bundle Program. This was a $1.5 million grant with a 7.34% match. So that bridge actually cost the city $207,000 to build. And that is essentially complete. There's a few touch-up items that need to be done, but that was a great addition to our community. In addition, we also applied for a grant called the Leading Idaho Local Bridge Program, and we received that grant for $1.5 million with a 0% match, and that'll be used to replace the Benton Street Bridge over the Portneuf. So our grant writers have been super busy, and they've been super successful on getting grants recently. So we're pretty proud of that. Speaking of grants, we also got what's called a RAISE grant for $7.75 million with a 0% match. This will be used to do the Craft Road and North Main intersection. It'll include a bus stop. It'll include a new road on Craft Road. It'll include some bike paths and pedestrian paths. And this is only one of 2 grants in Idaho that were received this year. And so we were pretty proud of that one. The Center Street Underpass, that one will be bidding October 24th. So we're excited to see how that one will open up. And that will start construction in the spring of 2024. That's a $6.7 million grant that we got with a 7.34% match. So that one will cost the city $387,000 to do that total project. Hawthorne and Quinn was another major project that we did this last year. This was also a grant that we got. It was a $4.09 million project with a 7.34% match. So it'll cost the city $227,000 for that project. However, Chubbuck will be paying for 25% of that as well. Construction's primarily complete on that. We did have a little bit of issue with acquiring the signal poles. Those will be coming in February of 2024, and they'll get installed. However, we will not be closing the intersection completely to install those signals, so it should stay open for the remainder of the time. Center and Clark ADA projects, I don't know if you've noticed, we've installed several sidewalks and ADA ramps up the Center and Clark corridors to give continuous access for people going up those two major streets. We did a safety project out on Jason and South Fifth. This was a $322,000 project. It was an ITD grant that had a 7.34% match. It's basically complete, well under budget, and then the streets will be installing the rapid rectangular flashing beacons soon to finish that project up. One other one that I wanted to touch on is we've got a couple other Fund 70 projects here. So in design, we've got Main and Arthur curb extensions. These are bulb outs that'll be installed down in the downtown area. This is a $700,000 grant that we got, and this will make it more pedestrian friendly and safer for pedestrians down there. We also got a grant for the Flandreau project. It was a $241,000 grant, and that one's in design and will be in construction, I believe, next year. And then also we did a pedestrian safety grant project with a $250,000 grant with a 0% match, and that'll be used for sidewalks and ADA ramps on Hawthorne and Jensen. And then one other one that the mayor asked me to give you an update on was the I-15, I-86 interchange. This is not a Pocatello project. However, we're very heavily impacted by it. And I know a lot of people ask that question about that. So I called out to ITD today to get an update on that. So they're hoping to have their new traffic pattern in place by the first part of December. A lot of those southbound lanes will be shifted over to the new section. And they're hoping to be paving here in the next couple of weeks on that. Right now, they're on schedule, and they're scheduled to finish in late spring of 2025. The Chubbuck Venture Road underpass will be open it's scheduled to be open in the fall of 2024. He said they've had very few change orders, and they're still within budget on that. And then also, a lot of people may think that the project that's going on between the Chubbuck interchange and I-80, I-15 over the Union Pacific Railroad is a separate project, but they're anticipating that project over the Union Pacific Railroad will be done in the middle of November. So hopefully that'll kind of clear that congested area up a little bit. And with that, Mayor, I think that's all I have.
That was a quick rundown. Thank you. Council, any questions for Jeff? Linda?
Just a quick one on the ITD project. You said in 2025. Did you say when in 2025?
Yeah.
I missed that.
So it will be late spring of 2025 is when they're anticipating that.
Okay.
Yep.
And then just one other quick comment. I mean, all of this is wonderful, but I want to just commend staff on the success of getting grants to save taxpayer money. That is tremendous. And then also the focus on bike ped friendliness and making us a walkable city. That has so many good impacts, including economic. So thank you for all of that.
Good. Any other questions, comments? All right, sounds great. Thank you. You can see we're not standing around doing nothing. Anyway. Parks, well, we're just as busy, I think, so.
Ann Butler, Parks and Recreation Director. I'm excited to talk to you guys about all the cool things we're doing this year. So the first one is we're building pickleball courts in Lower Ross Park between the Ross Park Aquatics Complex and the Horseshoe Pit in Lower Ross. So you'll see that out by the pavilion. It's currently, we're kind of playing the weather by ear to see if we can get the asphalt laid before. It may be something we take care of in the spring, but we do have an electrician, fencing, and surface contractors all lined out and ready to go. The splash pad will have, in a partnership with Idaho Central Credit Union, they donated $400,000 for the construction of a splash pad at OK Ward Park. The design is done on that. We've ordered all of the equipment that we need, and we anticipate having a contractor on board to complete that work next spring. I'm hoping it's open by early summer next year. Cemetery roads, with ARPA funds, we'll be repaving all of the roads in the cemeteries. The street department's going to be doing that work, so you'll see park staff trimming the trees up all winter long, because we need to be about 15 feet high to get that equipment in there. So anything that's paved in the cemetery will likely be repaved. I know there's every other road or so is dirt, and those will remain that way. So anything that's paved, you'll see repaved. Hollowell baseball field. Council authorized $100,000 in this fiscal budget to make some improvements to dugout roofs, widening of stairs, and new handrails. School District 25 has partnered with us to purchase new bleachers that go down that left field line. If you've seen those bleachers, they're quite old and pretty scary. So there will be brand new bleachers out there. We're hoping that they are delivered here in the next 6 weeks or so, and that we'll have those installed for next spring. We are also working on a few partnerships to improve the score booth area. I'm not sure exactly what that'll look like yet, but we're in the initial design phase. Ross Park Aquatics Complex slide. So currently, we've estimated about $1.4 million to put a new slide in. On the 19th of this month, you'll see me at council requesting their permission to purchase the slide equipment from the ground up. We need to do that so that we can get in the queue to make sure that that equipment comes in by next summer. Right now, if we get that equipment at the earliest, it would be mid to late June. So we'll probably have a contractor on board here in the next month to get that all set up, but we'll be probably waiting for that slide equipment to come in. It will be a 2-slide feature, so one will be an open slide and one will be a closed slide. They'll both have twists and turns and come down with a run out, in essence, so not into a pool. So we're working on that. We should have all the details here to council probably in the next month or so. We're excited about that. It's going to be a cool project. Brooklands Playground, with ARPA money, they reserved $275,000 to resurface Brooklands Playground at OK Ward Park. We've met with the contractor to re-turf the facility. We're anticipating the costs are going to be about $145,000 to do that. That'll be on the council meeting on the 19th as well. Everything will be blue turf at Brooklands Playground except for the swing areas. There's some sensory issues that they designed that way on purpose. So those swing areas will be red, but all the turf in Brooklands Playground will be blue. We will have that done. They're planning on doing it in May of 2024 before school gets out for the year. Potable water projects at Zoo, Idaho. We're planning to run 3 potable water lines. 2 will run to the lower Ross Park bathrooms and 1 to the Keeper building, and then we'll have another line that runs to the upper Ross Park bathroom. And we're currently seeking contractors for that project and hoping that will start next spring. Community Recreation Center remodel. In a partnership with the Portneuf Health Trust, we're anticipating some major changes to that facility. The remodel will include approximately 3,200 square feet of indoor facility space becoming a new fitness center. Additional improvements and updates will include a redesign of the front entrance, new flooring, new ceiling tiles, lots of new paint, exterior facade, lighting, and landscape improvements. The project is estimated to cost approximately $1.25 million, and they're going to pay that bill, so that's a pretty impressive project. Open space trails and parks plan. This is currently out for bid on our city website. We'll be seeking some consultants to help us with that plan. Council budgeted $150K to take care of that, and it's being spearheaded by our planning department. So I know several of our plans are quite old, and it's time for an update. It's time to do that work, and I'm excited about the trail planning. Tree grant. We have some fantastic grant writers in the city that are here tonight. And we have a $1 million grant through the Urban and Community Forestry grant for $1 million. And that will include tree trimming, planting, and a tree inventory and some other maintenance in most of our community. So that's going to be a big project. We're just starting to get some initial information, but I'm guessing that'll roll out early next year and we'll get to work. The last thing I want to talk about briefly is just a refresh of our skate park in Lower Ross Park. Resurfacing was completed in September of 2023 with a donation from Gilgan's Asphalt. They resurfaced all of that asphalt area at the skate park, and then materials were purchased in conjunction with lots of donations to take care of the resurfacing of the ramps, and they're actually doing that work right now. They've gone through 3 or 4 of the ramps, but we got a ways to go, so we're hoping to beat the snow on that.
Beating winter seems to be the important piece in this. Council, any questions for Ann? Corey?
I'd like to thank our staff for the hard work that they do and congratulate them on all the success that they've had in getting these grants. I'd also like to thank our staff for the hard work on creating these partnerships in the community with these different agencies, and thank those partners for their diligent work on helping to upkeep our city and maintain our city and make sure that things stay well maintained and beautiful. So just thank you to the community for your support.
Absolutely. Any other questions, comments, council? Okay, well, believe it or not, we're ahead of schedule a little bit. I think that if the community has any questions on any of those projects, I would entertain a question from the community. If you'd come up to the microphone. Have you signed up here, sir?
I have not.
Okay, that's all right. You don't need to sign up for a question for these two.
I was wondering if there was going to be any improvements made to the restrooms at the parks.
You know, at this time, I don't have any of that projected, but if you have some thoughts or which parks you're looking at, I'd be happy to take a look at that.
Ross Park.
Ross Park. We do have brand-new restrooms in Lower Ross, right there at the Horseshoes. Have you seen those next to the skate park?
I've been in the upper restroom when
Upper.
I've been up there disc golfing, and it's not usually been in the best shape.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Take a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions coming up, please? Connie, do you need their names for these questions? Okay, I'm sorry, sir. What was your name?
Larry Higby.
Larry Higby. Yep, thank you.
Hi, my name is Elba Worley. Okay, I have a question for Jeff Manfield. You talk about grants for these projects, and you say that all the grants are free, so there's no match with the taxpayer money, like a percentage. Do the taxpayers have to pay a certain percentage of those grants?
So some of the grants were a 0% match.
Yeah.
Some of them are a 7.34% match. And we actually have some that are like a 20% match.
Okay. Then you spoke also about Senator Simpson, not Senator, I mean Representative Simpson. Then he's going to ask, I guess, help from the federal government for $1 million something.
1.75
right?
million.
Yeah, 1.7 million.
For Johnny Creek.
So we know that when the federal government give any money, they always ask something in return. What will be the agreement? What Pocatello will have to do? Will they just get the money like that to use it, or there's going to be something that Pocatello have to give?
So you want me to take this one, Mary?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I mean, I can if you'd like to, but go ahead.
So Congressman Simpson really likes Pocatello, and he has a vested interest in Pocatello. We just recently, he helped us get appropriations for the Center Street project, which was the $5.2 million appropriation that he got for us. Ultimately, he has that ability to request funds and appropriate funds to utilize in the cities that are important to him. And Pocatello is one of those cities that's important to him, and he feels like it's important to invest in Pocatello.
But you haven't answered my question.
So your question was, what strings are attached?
Exactly.
There are no strings attached. We just need to build the project.
All right. Okay.
The interest the federal government has in it is it protects the aquifer in our community. And so their interest is protecting the community's aquifer and the water source. And the Johnny Creek area from the beginning of time has created a problem for the possible problem for the aquifer. And we're just trying to get ahead of that. And so that's what that money is for. Now, that $1.3 million will only take a main line about halfway up Johnny Creek. It does not do anything of the offshoots, and it does not go all the way to the top of Johnny Creek. And so Congressman Simpson is in the process of working to get more money so we can finish the backbone up through Johnny Creek. And then if he can get money to do the offshoots up through the other areas he can. If that doesn't happen, then we'll be looking at the community itself to help fix that, maybe with an LID or something like that.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions that the community might have?
Mayor?
Yes.
Do you want to just say what an LID is?
Go ahead. I know the acronym, but I can't tell you. Local
Improvement
District.
Improvement
Local
District,
Improvement
yeah.
District.
Just so people know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know, the minute you said go ahead, I was like,
We're talking acronyms, and I couldn't do that. Any other questions for the two of them? Okay, then we may have, we got one back in the back.
Okay, my name is Chris Hackelman, and my question's for Ann Butler. And I'm wondering if you have plans for something to be done about the abysmal condition of the black bears at the Pocatello Zoo. I had heard that there was some talk of improving their environment or enlarging it, but you didn't mention it tonight, so I thought I'd ask.
Sure, I know we have reached out. Peter Pruitt, our manager at the zoo, has been pretty busy reaching out to partnerships to make a new black bear exhibit. To my knowledge, we've not heard back from any of those partnership proposals yet, but we're hopeful that we will. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
I apologize for leaving. I couldn't hardly breathe or speak, and so. Okay, any other questions you might have for these two? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to agenda item number 3 is the comments from the audience. Now, I might just add comments from the audience. We have, I've worked with the city council, and the city council's expressed an interest to have the comments brought back on a regular basis on the city council. So starting this Thursday, we will have the comments from the public on every city council meeting as well. And so they've expressed that interest, and so we'll go ahead and do that. With that, agenda item 3 is comments from the audience. Council may wish to receive comments from the public regarding Pocatello city government related topics. Audience members who would like to address the council must adhere to guidelines at the bottom of the agenda. The council is not allowed to take any official action at this meeting on matters brought forward under this agenda item. You must sign in prior to the start of the meeting in order to be recognized. Each speaker will be allotted a maximum of 2 minutes. And I'm usually pretty solid on that, and so we'll see how this goes. The last meeting we had 2 different lines to sign up. I took sheets from both sides. Some people were excited, thought that we didn't alternate back and forth the way that you thought we should. So we thought we would make this so it's pretty clear. We've got an orange sheet and a yellow sheet. The yellow sheet only has a
Green and yellow.
orange and yellow. Green, I'm thinking we should have orange for the Bengals, but green and yellow sheet, sorry. And I will alternate back and forth. I'm going to run out of people on the yellow sheet, just so you know. I'm not ignoring the yellow sheet, we just don't have as many on it. So we'll go ahead and get started. Linda Egelman.
Linda Egelman, Pocatello, Idaho. That's what you want from me?
Yes.
Glad to be able to speak tonight because I want you to know exactly who posted the letter in the Idaho State Journal this week, talking about the no comments issue. I realized that in a public meeting, it was unacceptable. That was a terrible thing for you to do, and it's been a long time. But I am hoping that just the conversation about it would bring more people to these meetings. I picked on the mayor, but it's not his fault. It's the fault of every one of you who allowed it, who allowed the public to be silenced to all these meetings. Pardon me?
No, go ahead. Please, no comments from the audience. We're not here to do that. We're here to listen to
Parents,
Linda.
we're citizens. We do show up and we are angry. People don't come to the meetings just to tell you how wonderful job you're doing. You are doing a wonderful job, but it's not in keeping with what parents and citizens in the community would like all the time, and we would like to be heard. I'm here because I hope one by one, each one of you who supported that no comments, who supported the mask mandates, and who supported pornography in these libraries, I hope each one of you are voted out. I think it's terrible what you've done. I think it's terrible that you're not listening to the public. I think it's terrible that you're not accepting that that is pornography. I don't want it in our town or our community. We don't want it in our children's heads. They're going to grow up to be youth. They're going to grow up to be people in this community. And I think they have a right to have a childhood and to be left out of the sexual innuendos that happen in the public. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you. I just want to be clear, for Linda's sake and anybody else's sake, the council had nothing to do with removing the comments from the library. That was 100% me. And so I just, or I'm sorry, on the council agenda, the public comment period. That was me. That was my decision. It was being underutilized. And so with Linda, I hope that more people will show up. That was the public comment. We have always and continue to have public hearings where the community is always welcome, has been welcome, and we've invited people to come and visit during those times. And it just, it's abysmal at best. And so hopefully, Linda, we will get everybody back on board here. Thank you. We'll move to Keith Spiegel.
Correct.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Keith. Been a resident of Pocatello for about 10 years right now. Just start off with a little word. The Bible says, of whom we have many things to say and hard to be uttered, seeing you are dull of hearing. Like I said, I came here from, I fled here. I fled here from a town in the east, and it had sunk into great states. It was very bad. It wasn't safe to live in. It was crime-ridden. I had to run. The first chance I got, I had to walk away from my business, walk away from my house, because it had gotten to such a point that it was unsustainable and unsafe to live in. I came here thinking we're moving to a nice, conservative little town, and my mistake was not getting involved sooner, because that little town didn't just wake up back east and was all of a sudden bad. It got that way slowly over a period of time. You see, a town has three parts. It has a physical body, which you guys do a good job of taking care of, the pipes, the power, all that stuff. It has a spiritual side, and that spiritual side is what you're corrupting now, and that will affect the soul. You're letting that spiritual side with that pornography just grab root, and it's a cancer, and it will grow. That town I left, a woman could not leave the train station and walk home in the middle of the night, because she would not make it. But it wasn't always like that. Sundays, the church bells would ring and families would walk to church. Elm Streets lined the streets. They were gorgeous. The town was amazing. Now the houses are abandoned. The jobs are gone. The factories are empty and boarded up. And you guys are planting the seeds to that right now. Right now. This is going to be another Portland, Oregon, another Seattle, Washington. You guys are planting the seeds. You got to wake up.
Thank you. Lydia Noble.
Lydia Noble, Pocatello, Idaho. I have two questions and then just a comment for council. My question one is, council is supposed to be the eyes and ears of the public regarding the city budget and city spending, yet none of you are reviewing or even asking to review the citywide credit card purchases of hundreds of thousands of our tax dollars. Why not? I've tried to bring this up with several of you. It's a disservice to taxpayers if you're not looking at all of the spending. And I'm sorry, but that's how the public, myself, and everybody I've talked with feels about it. Second question, I've attended budgeting sessions for 4 years now. Budget meetings are mostly spent adding things to the budget. That's what I've witnessed, particularly this last budget season. Very little time is spent with cutting, reducing, eliminating, or curtailing spending. In every budget meeting I've ever been to out at the INL, where I worked for 30 years, it was always expected that you not only came to add things to the budget, but you came to reduce the budget in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's something that really needs to be adhered to. And then finally, the only comment is, two of you are currently running for city council positions as incumbents, but you were not elected, you were appointed. If you are currently campaigning that you are seeking re-election, that's really not true. That's, to me, not true. You were never elected. So you're seeking to be elected. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Elba Worley. I guess I should have asked, does anybody want to comment? or
Okay,
no?
I have three things to make comments about. First of all, I believe that any business that cannot be sustained by itself, it doesn't have any right to be in business. The idea that we have now Delta and the city of Pocatello subsidizing in order for that company to be in business, to provide service, even though, yeah, a few benefits. I never tried to benefit from it. Every time I check, it was more expensive to me to drive to Salt Lake City, to wherever I want to go in the States, or take the shuttle. So I don't know who's benefiting. I'm sure there is some that they benefit, but the thing is that I don't think the city should be subsidized. If they want to provide a service in Pocatello because it's profitable for them, they should do it on their own, with their own means. Another thing I want to talk about it is many people get raises. The economy is getting bad, but you guys are vote to raise yourself 11.7%. All of you, the mayor and all you, each member of city council. I don't think it's right. It shouldn't be. As a matter of fact, maybe you should ask the community what we think about it. I mean, what employer do you know that they actually will give you 11.7%. That's a big raise, and that comes out from our taxpayers and ourselves. The other thing I want to mention is I hear a lot of negative comments about you guys looking for a new sign for Pocatello. I think, you're having this contest, and whoever wins will make $100,000, something like that. But the thing is that we are fine. Use that money for something that we need to repair. Like, for instance, Ann Butler, I don't know if you're aware that the Pocatello fields, the soccer fields there on Eldridge, there is a spot where the water is just piping like a geyser there. I went there the other day, and my car, of course, I had to go through that. And I asked the lady that lives across the
I'm sorry,
street.
Elba, I'm sorry. I got caught up in what you're saying. Go ahead and finish up really quick if you would.
Okay, yeah,
We're
so
out of
I
time.
want to finish that because it's important. I talk to the people that live across the street of those fields, and they tell me that happens every single time, that it's been broken, so the water doesn't, the sprinkler system doesn't work. So only one spot is that it just shoot here and there. And like I say, it's very dangerous
where that
because
is?
you have to drive that.
I am. It's at OK Ward
Okay.
Park. I got a call on it a couple weeks ago, and I've had crews out there working on it.
But OK Ward doesn't have soccer fields.
No.
She's talking about
It's
NLP parks.
It's on
NLP
Elder.
I was
didn't say.
thinking OK Ward because I had a
No,
break
no.
there a few weeks
Do you
ago.
know where it is at NLP Park, where that
Yeah,
broken
you see
sprinkler is?
Eldridge, Eldridge is between Paul Line and
Yes. Mm-hmm.
McKinley. And you cannot miss the soccer fields there.
Yeah, no,
So
we know
in
where the soccer fields are.
corner, specifically that corner where I think there are some trailers from, I don't know.
So the corner closest to pole line,
It's almost, yeah, we say that. Yeah.
closest to pole line, there's a,
Western
the
corner.
west, the southwest corner, it sounds
It's
like.
really bad. I drove there, and believe me, I didn't have vision for that second, 2
Perfect.
seconds that you went
Yeah.
by, okay?
Okay, she'll check on that. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate that. Thank you. With that, we've got Steve Bevan.
He just stepped out.
He just left, so we'll hopefully bounce back up to him. Stephen Weeg.
My name is Stephen Wigg. I live in Pocatello. I live on the west side, lived there since '78. And when we moved in, the realtor said, "You don't want to go to the west side, only old people live there." We hung around long enough to be an old person. So, a couple of comments. Let me think about these parks. Great knows about the trees, the $1 million for trees. I think that's wonderful. 2 parks that I like are Centennial. We like Centennial a lot. We also like the park by the community center. And both parks are in our old neighborhoods. Both parks are really vital for our neighborhoods. And in both cases, at one point or another, I know in Centennial Park, there was some plan to take out a bunch of trees and make the parking lot bigger for City Creek. And that sort of was there for a while, and I don't know if it's disappeared, but I hate to see the trees go. And then there's also some comment about the senior center, which really isn't a building that's too darned old for itself. And probably fixing the parking doesn't fix the problem with the senior center. But if you're going to do something, remember the Triangle was our historic neighborhood. And the people that lived in the Triangle for years are the people that were sort of neglected for everything else. So if you're going to do something down there that impacts the neighborhood, include the neighborhood in the decisions that get made. I think that's really critical. The other comment is, I like to walk. I've tripped over the sidewalks in this town, especially in the old part of town. I'm too old, I can't afford to trip too much longer. Our sidewalks and our bike trails for the entire city need to be fixed. And I think I'll stop with that.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Steve did not get back in, so Amanda Moon? She just left too. So Steve and Amanda both left. Are they, do you think they're coming back?
She had to leave for her son.
Okay.
Be back.
We are at the end of the list. The yellow list and both lists, we're at the end of them. So kind of goes to Linda's thing, public comment, and taking advantage of it, and we're hoping that we'll be able to see some, but we might be able to answer a few questions that were asked here, and I'll start at the bottom because I can think about them.
Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I think the question would be the first one that I'd like to hit real fast. The sign for Pocatello, I don't believe it's a $100,000 prize for whoever submits a design.
So yeah, we were gonna get that.
Okay.
So I don't know what just happened to this. Now I've
Sorry.
lost it all. The sign, what that is, we'll go there if you'd like to. What we're doing there is, it's a rebranding effort. And so it's not a sign that somebody designs and does that. It will be a company, we're hoping a local company that will help us rebrand the city, the community. The design, if you look at the City of Pocatello brand, It's old, it's outdated.
It's a logo. That's not a brand.
It's a logo, that's right. It's a logo, and we're looking for a brand. And part of the issue that we have is we've got that logo for the city, but then if you look at Public Works, not to pick on Public Works, but they kind of have a different logo. And then Parks has a different logo, and the zoo has a different logo, the airport a different logo. And so our intent here is to get the same logo, and so when you see that, you know it's the city of Pocatello, and there's not the confusion and stuff. And so it's a project. It will be about we believe it'll be about $100,000, but hopefully we'll get that, and a lot of into that will be economic development, and we should see some more economic growth as well, is what we're hoping for. Linda, you had a comment?
I just want to make a real quick point that logo, kind of to Rick's point, a logo design, rebranding is a lot more than just a logo.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it, but it's about our whole image and our brand for the city, which is really important to economic development. But it isn't just a logo, so.
Idaho Falls went through this years ago and spent quite a bit more than $100,000 on it, and so.
ISU went through it and
ISU went
spent
through it and close to $1
$1
million.
million.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So it's just something that you do occasionally. Councilmember Mansfield.
I'd actually like to, I want to clarify that last statement. You said it's something you do occasionally, but I want to clarify the why. There are organizations within our city, Bannock Development Corporation, the Pocatello Development Authority, the City of Pocatello, land developers who are trying to sell Pocatello to corporations, to bring businesses to Pocatello, to show them that it's a great place for their employees to come and live and for businesses to come and invest. And so when people think about taxes and reducing tax burden on citizens, the best way you can do that is to bring corporate tax base that can help contribute to the necessary funding so that the city of Pocatello can continue to function. And so when we do this branding project, it's a design to bring in corporations, to bring in business. The overall goal is to reduce your overall tax ask.
Yeah.
Let me expand on that even further. It's a united community effort.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Pocatello is engaged in this, but this has been a demand we've had from, as Mr. Mansfield said, a lot of different agencies, so that when we go out to sell this community, we're speaking with one voice. Whether it's the city doing the pitch, whether it's Bannock Development, whether it's the Pocatello Development Authority, whatever it might be, everybody's talking the same, singing the same song. We need that because right now that's not happening. One organization goes out and tries to present, and they show one aspect of the city. What we're trying to develop is a theme that represents what this city is, who we are, and how that can be presented universally. And I've been through this twice in private industry, and it's a humongous task. The last time I did it, I spent $300,000, and $200,000 of it was spent the first day we launched the brand. It's a big project, and we brought in consultants from Denver and selected from a number of different consultants to do that project. And it is a humongous task. It took the board of directors of the organization I was working for, involvement, and talking about what it was going to be. And it is something this community badly lacks. So I hope no one thinks that we're going to put new logos on the side of our garbage trucks and that's going to be our rebranding effort. Yeah. It's going to be using a common font for everything we print, a common set of colors that distinguishes Pocatello from every other competitive community looking for this kind of business. It's going to be a way of presenting our community to the world and showing them who we are. And that's what it's all about.
So, okay.
We answer that because you guys are saying a lot.
So come on up here if you. We'll do this on tonight.
I want to tell you this. I think sometimes I feel that you guys really think that we are talking to children or people who never living in other communities, other states. I live in New York City before I moved here to Idaho. And believe me, what impressed me about Idaho when I came here about 42 years ago, first of all, it was a small town. It was clean. roads were taken care. I mean, the people were friendly. I mean, there were ice cream places, good schools at the time, that provide good education. And that's what I hear from people that wants to move to Pocatello. And when a company wants to move to Pocatello, they have to see also what is convenient for their employees. And they don't look at a brand or anything like that.
That is the brand.
It doesn't matter. What they look is about the conditions they're going to have, first of all, for their business and for the people that they're going to bring sometimes to work here. Okay? So please don't try to say that. You don't mention Idaho Falls. Idaho Falls is a city they can even call a monkey as a brand, but Idaho Falls have a lot to offer. That's the reason why people want to go, businesses want to go to Idaho Falls. But please don't try to use that statement because it's not really realistic, okay?
Okay,
Please.
thank you. We will disagree on that, but thank you.
I'm on your side this time. First time.
But I just wanted to tell you, we had a little bakery in Northern California, just a little hole-in-the-wall bakery, just a little bigger than this. We made fantastic pastries. My husband's from Switzerland, et cetera, et cetera. And one day we wanted to rebrand ourselves with a new name. And that's all we wanted. But one of the wine company label people came to the bakery and convinced us 5 years ago to rebrand it with an entire logo set of all these drawings. And I tried to talk everybody out of it, and I didn't win that battle. And it was the best thing we ever did. We ended up with our pictures in newspapers and magazines, and we ended up as a destination, and so did the town. So it was a really big deal. So congratulations for even having thinking of it.
Thank you.
We wouldn't say no to some of those baked goods either.
Yeah. We would not do that. Let me see, Council, what other questions would you like to ask? We've got about 7-8 minutes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to respond to Lydia Noble. Every council meeting, I spend 2 to 3 hours down here reviewing those purchase cards. I review every item that is on that budget sheet. Those lists of expenditures, I go through every single one and look at where it goes, and I spend whatever time it takes. I go back and talk to them in the accounting system, and I go through every one of those things to make sure those are reasonable expenses for that department and the amount that is recorded.
President Cheatham, there are EALs, expenditure approval lists, that the council receives. That is what the public believes.
Lydia, if you would come up here.
That is what the public understands that every council member receives, is an expenditure approval list. That is the formal purchases done by the city via typically a purchase order. Those are the lists that I believe the council is reviewing. What is not being reviewed and what the public knows nothing about is all of the expenditures that every employee who has a P card, a procurement card, a purchasing card, a credit card from the city, all of the purchases that they're doing. And in the past, I have heard that department managers are reviewing those expenses. Well, I'm saying that's not adequate. I think those expenditures need to be seen by council because the few times we have managed to get a copy of those expenditures, what we have seen are things like Amazon, the description, blank. Amazon, the description, blank. Gee, wonder what that department is purchasing from Amazon. I have no idea. And I think the council needs to take a look at that. I'm talking about the P cards, the purchasing cards.
I go through
Well,
them.
the public knows nothing about what it is you're doing when all we see is the expenditure approval reports are what is reported that the council is
So
reviewing.
I'm a little confused because Council President Cheatham absolutely goes through all of them as I get phone calls from everybody up here on the dais on different, no, hold on.
Why doesn't the public know this?
Hold on, just a minute. Because they have called and requested, what is this? What is that? Different information. We get them that information. Everything that is purchased in those are within the budget that has been budgeted for those departments. I am confused how you believe
I've seen
we should, hold on, how you believe we should let the public know that they're actually doing it, because they are actually doing it. what do we need to have a radio show that says
No,
we've gone through
no.
these things?
Mr.
What-
Mayor,
I'm confused
The
of what you would like.
EALs are part of the package that goes to the council. We see those occasionally, not always, but we never see the procurement card reports, the credit card statement reports by department of what's being spent. So I assume if everybody here is looking at the P card purchases, then when a department makes a purchase from Amazon and the description is called blank, that's acceptable.
That's where I'm getting a lot of the phone calls that say, what is this and why? And so that's why. And oftentimes the description of what it is or what it's for is too long to fit in that little place that we have on the computer. But
Mr. Mayor?
Comment over here.
yes.
And I was just going to comment too, those Amazon purchases are primarily books for the library. That's one of the main places that books are ordered from. And so most of the time, I don't even need to ask that because I know what they are.
Yeah,
So we do review them, but some of what may look like a lack of information from experience, we know what those purchases are. So
Well,
we're
I'm just
looking at
saying,
them.
So yeah, they are being looked at, and it's wrong to say that you don't and that you're lacking your responsibilities.
the
That's not
public is
correct.
not seeing that. That's what my point is. The EALs, the expenditure approval lists, are sometimes a part of the packages. We understand that those are part of what's being reviewed, but we know nothing about, and it looks as though the council is not reviewing P cards because nothing's ever brought up about P card expenditures being questioned.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up tonight because they are, and we're now able to get that out to the public that they are indeed. We had a comment over here if you wanted to come on up here. And then, we got about 4 minutes.
Ruby Walsh, Councilman Cheatham, can you maybe, or anyone here, explain that process? I firmly believe the council does not need to review every receipt from a P card. You have managers, you have directors who sign that off and push it up through the line. I have worked for 2 large organizations in this town, Portneuf and ISU, and we had a process. You can't trust your directors and managers to do their jobs. What are we doing? So maybe you can explain the process to the public on what that looks like so they know those.
You want to explain?
Those P cards are being reviewed by the manager, then it probably goes to the director, then to you guys. That's kind of how it works how many employees? Over 700 in this
So,
city?
yeah, when we're at their highest peak is just over 700. So I know you asked
Oh, go ahead.
Council President Cheatham, but.
That's the guy who's done it.
We've got one that's done it and lived it for most of his life, so.
I guess what I'll tell you is, you got to kind of trust your department heads at the beginning, right? So I have a budget. If I'm the police chief, I have a budget. Those P cards go through every division in there, and then they end up in the deputy chief's office before they go to the chief, before they come to the city end of it. Everything that is purchased has to be purchased off a line item for the most part. The Amazon purchases, I think, are when they shop something to try to get a better price. And that could be office supplies, it could be anything. I'm in the police department, I know it goes through several hands, as in every other department. To be quite honest with you, I didn't like P-card day because it was an entire day. An entire day, and you're going through everything because you didn't want to get questioned by the council. You didn't want to come in here and sit down and have somebody go, what is this? And not be able to answer it. I did have council members come to my office and ask me during the years, can you tell me about this? So I know that I look at them, I know that they're getting looked at, and I've been questioned by more than one person. I don't know how you put that out to the public. I don't know how, and I don't know, to be quite honest with you, the public's not going to look at it. Some people will, some, right, that like to look at that all day, but for the most part, no.
Josh?
And if you want council to publicly go through all the P card receipts, then in the same breath, you need to ask for a 40-hour council, and this does it full-time instead of doing it at 10 o'clock at night. These council members around me work incredibly hard to fulfill their obligations and their responsibilities, and they do it for an hourly pay that I would be willing to venture is near or below the minimum wage. So if we want to make it a 40-hour week and do all this publicly with a full salary, that's an option. But otherwise, I think that our council works pretty hard to make sure that those things are accounted for.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Ruby's right. The process that you described is exactly what happens here in the city. When I get those lists, and usually I come in council meeting day, the first and third Thursdays, usually around 2, sometimes 2:30. I pull the list, I go through it. I've got a chart of accounts. I know what department charged a specific item. And from the description, after doing this for more than, well, a couple of years now, I've been doing this, I pretty well know what those expenditures are. We have a little bit of a problem with the length of that line that the mayor described in the spreadsheet that these things go into. And sometimes we get some of the most obscure references, which I've brought to the attention of this group a couple of times.
They try to abbreviate.
Yeah, they try and
great.
make them short, and sometimes it turns into the strangest description of what that particular item is. But after you do this for a couple of years, you learn to recognize the same charges over and over again from the same department. You know what those things are. In the beginning, I was questioning 20 or 30 items every week. Now, after having done this for some time, 2 or 3 maybe, I go, well, why is that in that department? And then go back and talk to them and say, oh, perfect reason. I mean, it's absolutely logical what those items are, and they fit. I do trust our department heads and the review process that the city has put in place to make sure that the money is being spent where it is appropriate.
Well, as Councilman Marchand said, it has already gone through.
That's right.
Yeah. And as director has seen it coming up from her managers, like it's already been reviewed by multiple people. by the time
That's
it
right.
comes to you. I can support the process. If there's a problem with the process, we can look at that. But to expect these guys to review thousands of receipts every month for a $13,000 a year job, it's unrealistic, in my opinion.
Okay. Linda?
I just wanted to really emphasize the point that you just made about how it's gone through several steps. Anything we do, any money that this city spends, we look at it, we touch it, if you will, several times. So when we're seeing something finally get billed, that's not the first time we see it. So it's come before council when it was proposed originally, when the department said we need to purchase, X. Then there's a bidding process, there's a contract process. There's so many steps that have to be approved that by the time we see a bill, we've already sort of touched that item at least 3 or 4 times minimum. So I think we have a very thorough process, and I do think we have to trust our department heads and our employees that they are very thorough, and that then we are too.
You know what? Against my better judgment, we're out of time, but yes, go
I
ahead.
just want to know who approves the books that are purchased for the library? Who is approving these?
That is the library. You would ask the library board on that one.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's what I wanted to
Yep.
know.
Thank you. Well, I've got a lot to say, but I'm not going to say it. I want to thank you for coming and being here tonight. Thank you very much for your participation. Linda, I hope that we can get more people participating in this. Hence the reason I did away with it, because we just didn't have a lot of participation. And so hopefully we see that participation again, and we can do some things that move forward. Council, thank you for being here this evening. Our staff that's been over here waiting for a question from us, thank you for being here with us, and the public, thank you for spending the time with us tonight. With that, we are adjourned.